Hi guys, so today I was doing some cleaning and I decided to make myself some tea, and it reminded me that somebody or a few people had asked about how I make my bubble tea, because I think I either put it on Instagram or I mentioned it in a video before. Anyway, and so when I was making my tea just to drink it, I thought, you know what, this is very similar to what I would do because if you're making bubble tea or with tapioca or boba, whatever you want to call it, because all it is tea with milk, but you're gonna ice it, and you need to put a lot more sugar. Okay, so that's the only thing. So right now I'm making my tea with this special blend tea by Sedaf. I've only ever found this in my Mediterranean market, so you might not be able to find this at your store. It has a cardamom flavor. I really love it. Basically, you want a black tea. So whatever it is, some people use Lipton because it's dark and it's a black tea. Whatever black tea that you have at home that you like, use that, okay? But you're going to use basically triple the amount you would normally use, double or triple. It depends on your taste for a cup. So if you obviously put 1 bag or 1 teaspoon of your tea to make 1 cup, you want to double or triple it. So you can use 2 or 3 bags or 2 or 3 teaspoons basically for the 1 cup that you would normally do anyway. 1 cup of, let's just say 1 cup of water just to make it easy, right? So to make your tea or your boba, and this is just for 1, so that's another thing. I think most of the time when you see a recipe, it might be to make a ton of it. So I'm just going to make 1 cup. I'm going to drink this. I'm going to probably still use the same tea. Maybe not. Only because it has a cardamom flavor, so it might throw off your flavor. But you can use matcha. You can use whatever you like, to be honest, any tea. But you want to really make it concentrated. And then you're going to need sugar, brown sugar, honey, whatever it is that you want to flavor your tapioca balls with after we cook it. So we'll get to that in a second, because you can use whatever you like. You're going to need milk, and I like to use sweetened condensed milk too, because it's nice and thick. Some people just like to use creamer instead of the milk. You just add in scoops of creamer, the powder creamer, because it does make a nice rich consistency without adding milk to kind of water it down. So you can use that instead of the milk. So there's lots of different things you can do. Again, choose one and go with that, okay? And it might take you a minute to actually figure out your ratios, and that's okay, because when I first would make them, sometimes they were too watery. That's why you really have to put in a lot of sugar. So it's not the healthiest drink. And I think the reason it says that it gives kids ADD or ADHD or whatever these kind of palpitations, because it has a lot of caffeine. You're tripling the amount that you would normally put in there, and you're adding a lot of sugar. So it's not the best drink, especially for kids, okay? And this is where I keep my tapioca balls, just because I had gone to Boudin one time and I'm like, well, that's a cute little can, and then I just keep it here, just how I keep them. So whatever you like, whenever you go to sometimes Asian stores, you'll find these. So this is the colored tapioca pearls. So these colored ones, you're not going to see them very well with the dark. You know what, maybe I shouldn't keep them where I have them, because I see a little moisture in there. Anyway. I just have some moisture building up in there, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. They still look pretty great, though. You're not going to see it because of the dark tea, but you'll still, it's fun. They're, you know, you can play around with it. Usually people use the regular black tapioca pearls, and I have them here, and this is what it looks like. And I think I have another little video where I showed these. I might have spliced that in here, I'm not sure. But if you saw it, you already saw them. And these are ready in 5 minutes. So basically what I do is just boil them up, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Really easy, you guys. And then once they're cooked, that's when you put them in some sugar, like a simple syrup. I usually just add a little honey to whatever I fish them out, because they still have a little water, a little liquid on them, and then the honey just kind of melts into them. So brown sugar, whatever it is that you want to sweeten these with, that's up to you. So I would say grab your supplies, but we will get started. Okay guys, so I have 2 tea bags just in this measuring cup, just so that you can measure it, but you don't really have to do that. So again, if you're using loose tea, you know, do the right proportions for doubling what you would normally do. And I'm just going to add a cup of water. And I'm going to let this steep for like 5 to 10 minutes, a little bit longer than I normally would, because I want a really, really good concentration. You don't want it bitter, but you want it to have a good concentration. If you're kind of sensitive to that, just leave it for the same amount of time you'd normally steep, but definitely double your tea bags, okay? So you want twice as much, even 3 times as much, depending on your tastes. I'm gonna let that steep, and at the end of, I'll probably do 7 minutes, I'll just take the tea bags out, and that'll be ready for the next step. Okay guys, and while that's steeping, I already set this to boil. Oh man, I should have brought something. I'll use my nails. So the water's boiling. It's about 3 cups of water, maybe 2.5. And like I said, this is just for one person, so I'm only using a 1/4 cup of boba, but that's even still kind of a lot for me because sometimes some people, it hurts their tummy, and it's the cassava and the way they process it and everything. But we're gonna put that in there, and you see the water's boiling, boiling, boiling. You can give it a little mix. You don't want the pieces to stick together. And that's basically why your water needs to be boiling at the beginning also, just to give it some movement. And you want plenty of water for the amount that you're doing. So the packaging says 10 cups for every cup of boba, or the tapioca pearls that you're using, because you don't want it to stick together. You want to have plenty of room. So you can see they're already kind of boiling and bubbling up. So once they start coming up to the top like they are, I don't know if you can see that, you're going to cover it and we're going to cook for 5 to 8 more minutes. I'm going to turn down the heat just a little bit. So I'm going to turn that down. And I usually do like 7 more minutes. So what you want to do is obviously get it cooked, and it says 5-minute tapioca, but they say to cook it for 5 to 8 minutes. So I'm gonna give it its 7 minutes, and then we'll take a look. Give you guys a little look. Like, this is 5 minutes. You can kind of tell they're not quite ready. Like, if you really look at them, they still have like they're not super translucent. You can see that there's like a brown, hazy look to them instead of being kind of see-through. I mean, I can tell. I don't know, but maybe it's because I've done this before, but they're still kind of dark. They're gonna look dark anyway, but what I mean is, like, there's something in there that looks like powdery, kind of hazy. Okay, so we're gonna give it, like I said, 7 minutes. It's been 5. I just wanted to show it to you, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm here at my sink, and I have just a strainer and a bowl, and what we're gonna do is bring over that tapioca, the pearls, and ooh, this is really hot. Oops, I just dropped some, of course. We're going to strain that out. And I like to run cold water over it. You can put this into a bowl with like ice, water, and all that. I guess I dropped a few, but I think I can get them. I think it's nice and clean here. So just run super, super cold water over them to stop them from cooking. Again, like I said, you can put them in ice water if you want. I'm just using super cold tap water. And like I said, there's still going to be a little water kind of on these, but if you want to do simple syrup, you would just boil like half a cup of water, half a cup of sugar. It's usually the same, you know, 1 part water, 1 part sugar. And if you have simple syrup already ready, you know, because some people use it for different drinks, then use that. So there they are. And like I said, there's going to be a little liquid in there already just because of the water that's there. And so what I do is, you can just put some brown sugar. Again, make simple syrup with brown sugar, make it with whatever. I'm just gonna add a little honey like that. And let me see if I have a spoon here. Just give it a little mix and let that rest. I'm gonna leave these alone for a minute while we work on the tea, adding the milk and sugar and all that good stuff, okay? We'll just leave this to the side. Okay guys, this is where it gets fun. So in this, it's a shaker. You don't have to shake it. You can just mix it or put it in a jar and shake it if you have like any other kind of jar. It doesn't matter. I just have this shaker that when I used to sell Tupperware like a decade ago. And I just put some ice. It's, you know, a little less than a cup of ice. It's just whatever you want. You know, it depends also how hot your tea is, because maybe your tea is really hot and it's going to melt your ice. But you can mix all these things first. You can do it however you like. So what I'm going to do is, we are going to use sugar and we are going to use sweetened condensed milk. Some people only use the sweetened condensed milk. Some people only use sugar. Some people use both. Use whatever you like, guys. And a lot of times people use 2 to 3 like tablespoons almost for their sugar. And I'm not going to add that much because that is just too much. So I'm going to eyeball. This is a teaspoon, like a regular house spoon. I'm not even measuring it really. I'm going to say a teaspoon because I just had my tea and I'm still drinking my tea that also had a teaspoon of sugar, so I don't want too much sugar in my body right now. And then we're gonna get our Eagle brand, and this again, it's to what you like. So again, some people measure this out if they're using it. They use 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons, which is crazy amount. So I'm just gonna give it a good squeeze, and that's probably a couple teaspoons, I would say. I'm gonna pour in my tea, which is still kind of warm. You can definitely cool this down if you wanted, but the point of the ice is to cool it down, so I don't mind that. So I'm putting in my tea and just a little bit of milk, and this is just 2% milk, so that's what I use, but you know, whole milk, whatever. Just add in some milk, maybe a little more. Again, if you're using powdered creamer, you don't have to add the milk. And I'm just gonna put the lid on this thing. Hopefully I do this well. I don't want this going all over the place. Oh, there it goes. All right, and I'm just gonna hold this down and really, 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 really shake it. What you're trying to do is get some, I'm gonna do it over here to the side maybe. It's gonna get foamy and nice, and also to chill it, right? You need the ice to make it cold. So we're almost there. And I think I'm gonna, I wanted to pour it so you guys could see how nice it looks. So let me change the camera angle and we will put our tapioca balls with our milk tea and we're ready to drink it. And some people don't even shake it like this. They just put the ice, pour in, you know, your bubble tea mixture and you're good to go. You can add more ice because what happens is that ice really melts down. But I'm just gonna go for it because I don't want to add any more liquid. And oopsie, we're gonna put in our pearls. Let me eat this one. It's perfect. Chewy, but not just falling apart chewy, okay? So we still have a little, I don't know if you can hear that, a little give. And then I'm gonna take the lid off of this and pour the whole thing, but you can pour it through the spout if you wanted to, if you have this type of shaker. And look how foamy and nice, hopefully you can see that, the little foam there. And you see that, I don't really have to add more ice, but of course people like it on ice, put it on ice, doesn't matter. However you like. Now, I forgot to look for bubble straws last time I was at my local Asian store. And these came from my local market because they're like milkshake straws. So they're pretty thick, but they're not usually thick enough. Oh my gosh, that's perfect. That little cardamom flavor and that set-off tea makes it really nice. So hopefully you guys can find it. Basically, you just have to find the tapioca balls. Everything else is pretty much standard. You can find it at any market. There's Darth. But you can suck it up, and as you can see, they aren't quite big enough to get this in there. But you can probably find bubble milk straws on Amazon. So that's it, guys. It's good. It's a little less in calories than what I've seen some people do, but it still has a very good flavor. So just play with it. The first time you might not get exactly what you want, but you'll get there. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye now.